retro, or die.
The PlayStation 2's library is massive, spanning over 1,800 games. And among the many titles, the PS2 still has many hidden gems that are obscure even today. So with a library that expansive, how am I possibly going to find a game that hasn't been reviewed to death? Before we followed Isaac Clarke through the nightmare-filled journey in the necromorph-filled space station, before we had to hunt and kill others for a sadistic man snuff film, and before we had to track down the president's daughter in a plague-filled village where everyone's out to kill you, we were a lone man faced with an alien organism that could consume and take over your mind and body in an abandoned Antarctic military base. Or simply put, we had Extermination. In the early 2000s, horror games were on the rise, and in the last game review, we covered The Suffering, a horror game lost in time. And in today's review, we are covering a game that's even more obscure and oozes sci-fi action to its core. Released in 2001, Extermination is a survival horror game developed by Deep Space Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. The cover art alone makes this game look scary, and very much in the vein of John Carpenter's 1982 classic, The Thing. The plot of the game is you are Dennis, a Marine with the Special Operations Force, and tasked to investigate a distress beacon sent out from a top secret base located in the Antarctic. And to save Dennis's semi-love interest.
Was you, Cindy? I've been worried about you. I haven't been able to contact you ever since that day.
Dennis, is it really just a coincidence that you're here? Regardless, I don't have anything left to say to you. Just leave me alone.
Upon arrival to the base, your plane crashes for unknown reasons.
Lost two engines. We're going down.
Emergency. Grab your parachutes. Regroup at ground facility building B. Get ready. Now go. Yes, sir.
And when I say unknown reason, I really do mean an unknown reason. And mind you, they're not wearing any sort of snow gear. Not even a warm coat. Fuck.
We have to get inside ASAP. I'm freezing my ass off waiting for you. Be careful. One false step and you'll be in big trouble. They won't find your body till the poles melt.
Thanks.
Once you enter the base, things are quiet, and no signs of life surround the dark station. But once you begin to explore, things are not what they seem. The base has been taken over by an unknown organism that doesn't kill its host, but mutates them and takes over their whole body, and produces organic toxic material that spreads all over everything it touches.
Roger!
Dennis! Help me! Dennis!
It is now your mission to discover what is responsible for this outbreak while trying to not become infected yourself. Premise-wise, the game seems pretty standard for an action sci-fi B film, and for the most part, it is.
Don't move.
I had no choice.
Not to mention the voice acting for the game is beyond laughable.
I finally managed to sneak in, and all of a sudden I'm in a horror movie. What the hell happened here? Answer me. They didn't tell you anything? There was an accident here, a big one. An accident? What kind? They lost control of something they were researching here. Probably some bioweapon. I'm going to ground facility building B. How do I get there from here? Oh, that's where your friends are, huh? This could be another chance for a big scoop.
I will go as far to say as that the voice work in this game is even worse than the voice work in the first Resident Evil game.
Barry, help me please. The door won't open. Quick!
Stay away from the door, Joe. I'm gonna kick this door down. Hurry! This way!
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
The Canadian version isn't as bad, but still very cheesy.
Well. It isn't a big piece of crap. So you ate your dad, did you? Well then, it's time to finish both of you.
Voice acting aside, the gameplay for the most part is solid. Gunplay is quick and responsive, and the knife attack for some reason never gets old. If you recall in Super Metroid, however, when Samus needed to refill her life or ammo, there were designated rooms to do so, with an unlimited amount of times you could do it. Well, these types of rooms also exist in Extermination. There is this hilarious wall terminal that dispenses a never-ending amount of ammo. So in reality, there isn't any consequence on being low on items other than your healing items for infection. On your main HUD screen, you will have an infection meter that will increase in percentage the more biological damage you take. This is the main obstacle you'll need to pay attention to. If you become fully infected, your character will physically show it, and your health bar will drop to half, and will continue to go down every 15 seconds. If you don't make it to a healing station in time to remove the infection, you will die. The save station will be your best friend during the game, and whenever you need to do something important. Because just like in traditional survival horror games, death means starting back to your last save point. In the late 90s and early 2000s, it was hard having an action game including platform mechanics due to camera angles that would fight with your player controls. This game suffers the same fate of clunky platform mechanics, and at times feels very misplaced. This was a commendable attempt from an independent game studio to create a new horror game that utilized the PlayStation 2's, at the time, movie-like CGI capabilities. And tried to give the player an action horror game from the minds of the executive producer of Resident Evil and the creator of Mega Man.
From the executive producer of Biohazard and the creator of Mega Man, Extermination is the next step forward. You'll be amazed at the realism, as weapons experts were called in to work on the project.
We all see tons of films, and they all affect us differently. They move us, or they excite us. So we wanted to make the action in games feel more like a film. We thought that the gameplay would have a better feel to it. You'd get the full flavor and power of it all. So to make this a reality, we developed the Region Action System. And I think that clearly distinguishes this game from other action games.
In the end, Extermination is not a hard game at all. The story itself makes for a good B-movie. The computer animation cutscenes for that time were extremely well done. It took me about 6 hours in total to complete the game, and this can be beaten in even a shorter time if you were not looking for all the hidden items and collectible dog tags stashed away. That I still have no idea on what the importance of collecting them was. The music is nothing to brag about. Hearing the same few tracks over and over again. If you're ever looking for a decent PS2 game that nobody talks about, I would pick up Extermination. It's dirt cheap and will have you laughing at the voice acting. At this point, I really think there's only one more thing to do.